You think you know someone. The face that's always calm, the voice that reassures, the person everyone calls a friend. But sometimes, behind that smile, there's a storm no one can see. And today, that storm broke in the most unimaginable way. A man, known for decades as the kindest presence in any room, was caught on camera shaking, not with sadness, not with confusion, but with rage. Pure, raw, almost dangerous anger. And the reason? The story of his closest friends, a family torn apart from within. This isn't about a sudden tragedy. This isn't about a quick accident or a shocking headline you scroll past. This is about a life slowly unraveling under the weight of love gone wrong, a decade-long pattern of pain no one dared to stop. The people at the center, devoted parents, gentle souls, were crushed not by fate, but by a force that should have been invisible, their own child. And today, for the first time, the world is hearing the truth. It started with whispers of a household that no longer felt like a home, a place where fear had replaced comfort, and the parents who gave everything found themselves powerless. The friend who spoke out didn't mince words. He described dinners filled with tension, conversations that escalated into intimidation, and a home where the atmosphere was like a match waiting for a spark. He said something that will haunt anyone who hears it. We watched them love him to death. Think about that. The very love meant to protect ended up being the chain that bound them. One story he recounted was a dinner not long before the world changed, before the pandemic. The father, a man celebrated for his kindness and creativity, had to step away from the table, shaking after a confrontation. And what did he do? He didn't call for help. He didn't turn away. He returned, wiped his tears, and said, "He's in pain. I have to help him through it." The heartbreak in that moment is almost unbearable. Watching someone endure this, knowing that every attempt to help only deepened the danger, that is the weight of this story. It's hard to overstate the bond between the witness and this family. They weren't just colleagues or casual friends. They were like neighbors in the rarefied world of those who create stories for a living. And when someone so trusted speaks about this pattern of terror and heartbreak, you know it's not exaggeration. It's a warning. The details are chilling. The child in question wasn't just struggling with typical issues. There were episodes of intimidation, emotional manipulation, even terrorizing the siblings. Reports suggest that friends began avoiding visits because the tension in the house was palpable, almost toxic. Imagine being a parent in that situation, one of the most accomplished, respected people in your field, living in a home where those you trusted most, even your friends, are afraid to enter. And the mother? She was the invisible shield, the glue holding everything together. For decades, she intercepted anger, soothed wounds, and absorbed blows that no one else could see. She allowed the father to focus on his work, to create, to live a life outside the shadow of the chaos. Yet that shield couldn't withstand everything. In the end, the couple's devotion to their child may have been their undoing. There's another layer that makes this story almost unbearable. The father tried to direct the situation, to control the narrative, just as he would a film. He thought, perhaps, if he guided the dialogue, shaped the scenes, he could change the ending. He waited for the third act where reconciliation would arrive, where the troubled child would finally come home and everything would be all right. But life doesn't follow a script. Addiction, anger, and resentment don't respect a planned storyline. They devour it. And by the end, there was nothing left to salvage. Here's the thing that's especially horrifying. It wasn't about money. Everyone assumes the conflict revolved around wealth, inheritance, or control of assets. But the truth is far more insidious. It was about control over the parents themselves, the desire to dominate the household, to force validation. And when the parents finally said no, when they finally tried to set a boundary, that was the breaking point. A boundary meant to protect a family became the catalyst for catastrophe. And yet, this story isn't just about devastation. It's also about perspective and a warning. The friend who broke his silence today isn't doing it to sensationalize tragedy. He's challenging a narrative already taking shape in the press, a story attempting to paint the child as the victim. He's standing up and saying, no, these were present, loving, attentive parents. The horror of what happened isn't their fault. As we consider this, think about the silent victims, the siblings who lived through the same storm, watching the chaos unfold, powerless to intervene, living with survivors' guilt. The mother and father didn't just lose their lives. They were worn down, eroded over time by love and devotion. Their family, their world, became a cautionary tale of how even the strongest, kindest people can be undone from within. Midway through this story, if it's hitting you in the chest like it hit me, take a moment. Share it. Tell someone. Because the lessons here aren't for headlines. They're for families everywhere. Recognize the danger of looking away. Recognize the power of love when it's misapplied. The impact of this revelation will echo through every corner of the legal system, every conversation about mental health, about elder abuse, about the limits of parental responsibility. The public may never fully comprehend the weight of what happened in that home, but this friend's account gives us the closest insight. We see the bruises that weren't visible, the patterns ignored for decades. And we feel the grief, the rage, the helplessness, the loyalty that compels a friend to risk reputation just to tell the truth. No, this isn't a story with a happy ending. There will be no comforting resolution, no neatly tied conclusion. The parents are gone, the child faces consequences, and the rest of the family carries scars that will last a lifetime. The lesson is brutal, but clear. Love without limits can sometimes destroy the very thing it seeks to protect. As the trial approaches and more details come to light, remember this: silence isn't innocence. Wealth isn't protection. Fame isn't safety. And kindness, even the greatest kindness, can be weaponized if unchecked. The friend's voice shaking in that interview, his hands clenching, his rage barely contained, is a signal flare to anyone listening. Pay attention. Intervene before it's too late. By the end, we're left with a story that's more than tragedy. It's a morality play. It's a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that even the strongest among us can fall, and sometimes, those we love the most are the ones we must protect from ourselves. If this story moved you, share it. Talk about it. Let it be a warning, not just a headline. And finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for updates. Because this story isn't over. The silence has been broken, the floodgates have opened, and the world is watching. What started as a private nightmare has become a lesson for all of us. Love fiercely, but also wisely. And never, ever look away.